Today we've got lots to talk about, as it seems we always do. We're going to talk about a norovirus outbreak on a cruise ship. Celebrity has changed some of their policies as well that we need to talk about. We're going to talk a little bit more about the itinerary changes I notified you about in my video yesterday and what we might be looking at in the future as we consider what's going on in the world. We're also going to talk about another cruise line that is maybe considering adding a device similar to what Princess has in the Medallion to their cruise experience, and lots more. So let's go ahead and get started. Hi there, this is Allison with Let's Go Travel Tips. Today is Wednesday, it's January 31st of 2024, and if you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, will you please hit that subscribe button? We would love to have you with us, and I look forward to hearing everything that you've got to share with us and reading your comments. Also, if you appreciate our updates, would you please give this video a thumbs up? That really helps us out, so thank you. Let's start at the top here and talk about some changes on Celebrity. So usually final payment dates with the large cruise lines are 90 days out from cruises. Sometimes they can vary a little bit with that, but Celebrity just has made the announcement that starting yesterday, January 30th, they are tightening up how soon you have to really commit that you have to pay in full to go on some of their cruises. So instead of being a 90-day before your sail date final payment date, they are moving to a 120 day window. So 120 days before you go on a Galapagos cruise or any of their cruises that are 15 nights or more, you are going to need to make that final payment within 120 days. What I honestly think this says is a couple of things, and so let me know in the comments what you think about this. So first of all, I think surely they must be getting more cancellations than they wish they were getting when it comes to time for final payment, and then they've just got that shorter window to try to fill up those ships again. Another thing that stands out to me, as always, cruise lines seem to want their money as soon as they can get it. And once you make that final payment, as you get closer and closer to the sail date, you lose more and more of your cruise fare if you're not able to go on that cruise. Now, of course, you should have insurance, and there are lots of different ways that insurance can apply to different reasons that you don't go on a cruise. So I can't cover that with a blanket statement. But just be really aware when you book these cruises that you have insurance of some kind, or however it is that you manage risk in your life, okay? So be aware. And I want to remind everyone that when you book a Celebrity cruise, they have lots of different kinds of fares, but part of what goes into that is the non-refundable deposit and the refundable deposit. And for quite a while, you could pay for that non-refundable deposit, and if you had to cancel your cruise and changed, even if you just changed your mind, or if something came up that you couldn't go and you had to say cancel that cruise, they would give your deposit back. And then when you went to, well, not give it back, it was held in your Celebrity account there, and then when you went to book another ship and sail date, they would apply that as a future cruise credit and take $100 per passenger as the change fee. So if it was a $900 deposit, that other $700 would go towards the next cruise that you chose. But you know what? They don't do that anymore. We're getting close to a year now. I believe it was March 1st of 2023 that Celebrity made the change that those non-refundable deposits are indeed non-refundable. So make sure that if you book that non-refundable deposit that you're okay losing that money if you don't go. And with their refundable deposits, they do cost more. And so kind of keep an eye. Another thing that I want to point out about Celebrity here is we had talked about it quite a bit for a while when it came out that Celebrity is truly charging solo travelers way more than it would cost for two passengers in that same cabin. Historically, cruise lines have charged solo travelers as much as it would cost for two people to be in that cabin because so much is based on double occupancy. Sometimes they will run sales or have different itineraries that have a less than the extra 100% having to pay double, but Celebrity was charging 300%, sometimes more, definitely more than it would be for two people. They made the announcement that they would be having like 75% of their sailings, the solo passenger would not be paying more than two people would be in the cabin. So I took some time to look through some sailings, and heavens, I did not look through anywhere near all of their sailings. But the ones that I chose and just randomly picked some to price for 2 people in the cabin, and then the exact same cabin, exact same voyage for 1 person in the cabin, they all came up at more than 200%. So I don't know if Celebrity is still working on that or if they're just figuring that's the way they're going to do business. But just a heads up to those of you that travel solo, you might want to book 2 people in your cabin. You don't need to worry about it. I've had 5 cruises now that I have gone without Gordon, and they were all of them booked. He was booked in the cabin. Every one of them, we were hopeful that he was going to come with me. And so those would include Princess, and most of them were on Princess, but Princess and Celebrity and Carnival are the 3 cruise lines that I had that, and Holland America, 4. And no one ever cared that he didn't come. Nobody even cared that he didn't come, and so you can do that. Nobody is going to grill you why someone is booked in your cabin and they're not there. So just wanted to put that out there. If you have any questions about that, pop it in the comments. If you've got any experience with that, we would really love to hear from you. Now, the next thing that, these things come up now and again, and but I just feel like, they make headlines. I try to put things in perspective, let you know how they handle things if you're new to cruising. So indeed, on the Queen Victoria, there is a norovirus outbreak. They call it norovirus. I don't really know. And I don't think that perhaps they know for sure that it is the actual norovirus, but they have had 120 passengers report that they have had the symptoms of vomiting and diarrhea that are associated with norovirus, as well as 15 cases of that within the crew members. And this is all on a sailing that is from January 22nd through February 12th. And so I'll hope for some more updates on this. I will say, some germs do pass from person to person really easy, but wanted to bring you up to date on that. I know that when this happens on a cruise ship, they really double down and do so much more sanitizing. They really tighten up how they manage a lot of things. I noticed with, we follow Don with Don's Family Vacations. He's on Regent Seven Seas right now out of Rio, and he was saying he boarded that ship and they had norovirus on the sailing before. He said that when he went to the buffet, you couldn't even they served you didn't even pick up your own plate, that they took the plate, they put on it what you wanted and gave it to you. And so I am sure that they are doing something similar there on the Queen Victoria. If any of you happen to be on the Queen Victoria, let us know how it's going, and I hope that that outbreak comes to an end really soon and that everyone can enjoy their cruise. But another thing I would tell you is the Princess ships, as they roll back out of dry dock, the ones that didn't have hand washing stations by the buffet, I've noticed that they have been added. Either I've seen it myself or people are telling me about it. So I think that is a really nice plus. Although a lot of people walk by without washing their hands, it's remarkable how many germs that you can get rid of when you wash your hands. So that's just a friendly reminder, and I have to remind myself all the time too, especially when I've just been in the cabin. I wasn't even the one that opened the door or pushed the button in the elevator. I've just washed my hands, dried them. We've gone to the buffet. I still wash my hands again just in case something got picked up on the way there. So do that however you would like. So yesterday we talked about those itinerary changes on the Island Princess and on the Zider Dam. I hope I'm saying that right now. And so with that knowledge, both of those itineraries changed substantially. I don't know why it is that Holland America's is a better itinerary. One thought that I had, and I want to hear what you all think about this, because as the Zider Dam comes around, she is stopping in a lot more ports there in Africa than the Island Princess is. The Island Princess only has that one call. But Holland America is doing an awful lot with their legendary voyages, and a lot of their other one-time voyages that they offer, truly opening up the world to so many places, not only round trip from the United States, but from other ports as well. And so I am wondering if they already had some of those relationships and some of those processes already started or in place to be able to call in those ports. So if any of you have more knowledge of that, we would really appreciate hearing from you on that. But either way, those itineraries did change substantially. Like I said, with the Island Princess, she was supposed to be going to to Ephesus there in Turkey, over to Jordan, to Egypt, to all of those places. And as I have thought about what I would do, honestly, what I would do if I was someone who was booked on that cruise and really wanted to go to those places, part of it would be depending on how you view things. If you feel like it is still really safe to go to those places, you know what I would do? You're already going to be flying to that region of the world. Add on the flights that you need, or change the flights that you've got so that you can maybe go early and, fly in to wherever you want to go, whether you're flying into Cairo, sign up for a tour with someone and go see those places. If you feel like it's okay to go, that's what I would do if it was me. I wouldn't give up if you feel like it's okay. After what happened in Jordan during this last week, I would be a little bit more worried, but that's just me. And so if you feel like that's something you would like to do, I wouldn't give up. And if you can add it on before you head out on that island princess tour, you could do that and then just fly from there over to Cape Town. So there's an idea for you. If anybody has any other thoughts about that, put that down below. We've got Let's Go family members that did a land tour as recently as in December in Egypt and had the time of their life. Just absolutely wonderful. We're safe the whole time. Can't speak highly enough about it. And you know what? If you do it that way, you'll see even more than you would see just visiting on a cruise ship, both in Jordan and in Egypt. And just want to put that out there. There are still a lot of itineraries that are going to visit Ephesus and even up to Istanbul and that. So that's not completely off the table yet. But I wanted just to put that out there for you. And another thing is we've got a lot of other itineraries going to that area. And so as those of you who are booked on those cruises, whether you're on a world cruise or on a segment that would potentially be affected by that, will you let me know? I would love it if you will email me the updated itineraries and just give me a heads up about it. Otherwise, I'm constantly kind of watching and looking to see what's going on. But I really think that if you have a sailing that is going reasonably soon at all to those places, I think it's going to be canceled. And so the other thought that I have got is if you have sailings that you have booked, cruises that you have booked to go to that region over there, before you make your final payment, really think twice. We clearly learned that things can change an awful lot. And so if you have got, like I said, anything that is booked to that region of the world, I wouldn't make my final payment if you aren't willing to go on a drastically different cruise if that's what they have to do. So any other suggestions, any other thoughts any of you have about that, I would really look forward to hearing them in the comments below. Now let's talk about Jamaica for a minute. Yesterday we talked about the Bahamas and the travel warning that the United States State Department put out. January 23rd, they announced an elevated alert status for Jamaica as well. So now Jamaica is level 3 travel warning from the State Department, and that means reconsider your travel. And as I read through, you can go to the State Department's website, just like Google Jamaica U.S. Department travel warning, and it'll come up. And but as I read through that, there's a few things that I want you to think about as you consider going there. I noticed, I can't remember if it was on Facebook or if it was that I read it or in our comments, but someone mentioned going to Jamaica in 2016 and just going and getting a taxi. And truly, when you get off there in Falmouth, Jamaica, you walk through the cruise area and the shops that are associated with that. And then when you get to the end, that's where you're going to get to where you catch your bus for your excursion that you've got booked, as well as that's where you're going to catch a private taxi. And they caught a private taxi in 2016, but let me tell you, I would not do that. I would not do that in these days, this day. So the country's summary that the State Department said, violent crimes such as home invasions, armed robbery, sexual assault, and homicides are common. Sexual assaults occur frequently, including at all-inclusive resorts. So I think for a really long time, and I am included in this, I thought that to go to an all-inclusive resort, that was kind of like, just this bubble that you could go there and everything would be okay. But I definitely think we need to rethink that. They also say that local police do not often respond effectively to serious criminal incidents. They talk about the hospitals there and how they are not equipped to offer the level of care that we're used to in the United States. They offer the warning to make sure that you've got travel insurance, because if anything does happen to you, it can be very expensive to have those flights to take you from Jamaica back to the United States to get the medical care that you need. And so what does this mean to those of us who really enjoy going on cruises? Here's what I think. And this is one thing I'm really wondering how long cruise ships are going to continue to go to these places. When we were there in November of 2022, and we went on Royal Caribbean. That's when we went to try it out. We booked an excursion to go to a beach resort, and you know what? That is the only time I have ever complained about an excursion with the cruise line on YouTube. Most of the time, I just wish they would go a little bit better. We ended up leaving one when we were in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico, but it would have been okay. But this one was terrible. And going to the beach resort there was nothing like you would expect it to be. And so the things that I think about with that are, and I'm not saying never go on a cruise ship excursion there, but I do think that if you want to go sightseeing, you should go with a group from the cruise ship. I would be really worried about booking in any other way because you just aren't sure what they're going to be, the whole situation that's going to be going on. I wouldn't hire my own taxi anymore. They have already had, I want to say, 84 murders this year, and it's only January 31st. And so they talked about how murders and the sexual assaults and all of these things and robberies can happen just in broad daylight anywhere. And so this isn't to make you worry. This is just to remind you to be really wise. Another thing that I noticed when we were there last November was how expensive a lot of things were in the shops that we went in. We just stuck in the shops there once we came back early from that excursion. What it was is they would take you over, in shuttle rides over to the beach resort, and then you could come back as soon as you wanted as they would come back. And so we just came back early. But we went ahead and shopped in that little area there. And I don't know if this is common, but so we just went in one store and I was holding up a t-shirt and the lady told me it was $70. It's the same ones that you would pay, $19.99 for anywhere else. And so I think maybe things, I don't know if they just try to gouge cruise passengers there or if it was just that one shop. After that, I thought, well, I don't really need anything here. And so share your experiences, especially recently in Jamaica with us, would you? So that everyone can know. Another thing, so over on Facebook, if you haven't joined us on Facebook, go join our group there. It's Let's Go Travel Tips. Eric posted, Exploring with Eric, he said that Princess sent him a survey, so he ranks pretty high there, asking about Alaska ports, and he said that one of the interesting things is they talked about Juneau as a departure port for an Alaskan cruise. Now, there are lots of ports, lots is relative, but there are several ports in Alaska that your nicer luxury lines will depart from, but generally, the really large cruise lines run everything round trip from Seattle, or, your Vancouver round trip, or Vancouver to Anchorage, and then vice versa back down again, but they don't generally set sail from Juneau, from the other ports. And so I thought that was really interesting. Would you like to go on a cruise sailing from Alaska, especially those of you that have been to Alaska more than once? Let me know if you would be interested in that. Let's talk about it in the comments. I was trying to decide if I would, Juneau there, the way it's situated, you have to reach it by plane. There are no roads that you can take in. You could go on another boat to get there, or you have to fly in. And so that's a logistical thing to be thinking about. It'll be kind of interesting. Let me know if you'd like to go on a cruise from Juneau. The very last thing I want to talk to you about, maybe I should have talked about this earlier. This is a big deal though. I follow John Hield, and he posted a wristband that opens your cabin door and you use for purchases and getting on and off the ship. Would you want one of these? So it sounds like Carnival. And so if you don't know, John Hield is the brand ambassador for Carnival Cruise Lines, and he posts a lot. He's fun to follow. But clearly, it sounds like perhaps Carnival is feeling out if people would enjoy having a wristband. On Princess, we've got the little medallion, but it would be really interesting to see if something comes in wristband form. So this will be fun to track. Now, you all, if you don't know this, Carnival Cruise Line and Princess Cruise Line are both owned by Carnival Corporation. And so with being, I will just call them sister cruise lines, perhaps they would share the technology and be able to do that. Carnival, I think, is really trying to up their game technologically, not only with offering this, but they are the very first cruise line, and I talked to you about it right when that news was breaking, that they are going to offer 5G phone service on their cruise ships. You're going to have to sign up with your phone carrier, like your Verizon or your AT&T or T-Mobile, whoever it is that you get your phone service through. But to have that capability on a cruise ship is unbelievable. And so it's going to be really fun to hear how all that rolls out. I think it's going to change a little bit of the whole dynamic of cruising, is depending on how people use their phones and where they are talking on them. It'll be interesting to see. But tell me what you think about them offering a wristband. Sounds like they're trying to get on the Medallion bandwagon. So thanks for being here with me today. I will see you here again tomorrow, and I'll be talking to you all again really soon. You all take really good care. God bless you. Love you. Bye-bye.